Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the iPad Mini 2. Now this has been my daily driver iPad for quite some time now, ever since this thing came out. So this is kind of my farewell video to it and basically seeing if the iPad Mini 2 can still be usable in 2019. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this is actually my second iPad that I've ever owned at the time. So before this I had an iPad 2 and then I got this iPad Mini 2. Now today I am finally going to replace this iPad. I just picked up a 10.2 inch 7th gen iPad to replace it with, so I will no longer be using this iPad Mini. And there is a reason for that, and I'll talk about that a little later on in this video. So let's talk about the design of the iPad Mini. So the Mini design, I love it. I really love the form factor of the iPad Mini. It's easy to hold it in one hand. You can also type with two thumbs if you wanted to, whether you're in landscape or portrait mode. So I really like that. I feel like it's just a really perfect size for a tablet. It's really nice. Now, this design has looked the same for quite some time though, and that's one thing I really don't like about the iPad Mini. So the basic design has looked the same ever since the first iPad Mini. If you take an iPad Mini 5, which is the current generation, and put it next to this 2, you really wouldn't notice a difference. The main difference between the two is if you pick it up. The iPad Mini 2 is noticeably heavier than the 5 or even the 4. The 4 is when they decided to lighten things up a little bit. It's kind of weird. When I picked up the 7th gen iPad, it's actually lighter than the iPad Mini, which doesn't even make sense, but that's how it is. But overall design, it's the same good old-fashioned design that we know and love, but it would be nice to, maybe soon see a full screen iPad Mini, kind of a screen like we have on the newer iPhones or even the iPad Pros. So yeah, that would be nice. Speaking of the screen, it is a 7.9 inch Retina display. It's still on par with the displays we have today. It's really crisp. You can't see any pixels, especially since it's a smaller screen. It makes the pixels really difficult to see anyways. Now, one thing I am really impressed with about the iPad Mini 2 is that the battery life is still solid. This thing still gets 9 to 10 hours of battery life, and that is right on par where it's supposed to be, because that's when it came with when it came out. So I'm really happy to see that the battery has held up all these years. You look at some of the older iPhones with battery problems, or even the iPod Touch, that battery degraded like crazy, but the iPad is still holding a charge and still doing great. I mean, I can get easily a day or more depending on how much I use it. Now, here's the thing that is really forcing me to upgrade to a newer iPad, and that's the performance. So the iPad Mini uses the A7 chip, which means it only is compatible with up to iOS 12. So when the iPad OS/iOS 13 came out, we are no longer supported on the iPad Mini 2. And that is really hurting the performance of this thing. So it has gotten painfully slow. I mean, it is taking a while to even get to a web page. Some applications take forever to load, and once you're in applications, they're pretty laggy. Graphics and transitions aren't very smooth. So it's just time to finally upgrade. And it's really noticeable for me, especially, I have a 2018 MacBook Air and an iPhone 10. So when I'm using those devices that are pretty fast and then you go to this, well, it is a noticeably slower device. And that's really unfortunate because I really love this device. Now, yes, I could have bought another iPad Mini 5, but I decided I wanted to change things up a little bit, so that's why I picked up the 7th gen iPad. So can this iPad mini still be used in 2019? Well, yes it can. I mean, it has the latest version of iOS 12, which is 12.4.3. It's very usable, but it's just slow. If you can get over the slowness and lagginess of it, then it's fine. But if you're doing more intensive things or gaming or something like that, then, well, the iPad mini might not be for you. But it has lasted me this long. It's been a very solid device, and I bet I could get another year or two out of it maybe, but pretty much once a device is no longer supported, that's when I upgrade. So guys, that's what I think about the iPad mini 2, and is it still usable in 2019? Let me know in the comments below, have you ever owned an iPad mini 2, and do you prefer the mini over the full-sized iPad? Well guys, that's all I got for you today. Be sure to leave a like on the video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for all the support. We just hit 200 subscribers on the channel, as well as 60,000 total video views. So 2 more important milestones there, and we are on the road to that 1,000 subscribers very quickly. But anyways guys, like I said, that's all I got, and I will catch you all in the next video.